Hello guys, welcome back. This is Tina, and today we have a very special segment. We're going to be making lasagna. And so this is my Italian grandmother's recipe, and she passed this down. This is not a pure Italian recipe. However, this is her secret recipe that I am going to share with you guys today. And we will need the following items. We're going to start off with lasagna sheets. We're going to use breadcrumbs. I use panko breadcrumbs just for a little extra texture. Pasta sauce. You could use any pasta sauce. I like the one with mushroom. It gives it an extra vegetable, first of all. And just additional texture. I love mushrooms, so it tastes delicious. A pound of ground beef. Make sure to have a little bit of fat in there, just so that the beef stays nice, juicy, moist. We will need garlic powder, and this is at least a teaspoon of garlic powder. And just to add a little kick, I'm going to be adding a little chili flakes. We will need 1 small onion. And for the ricotta mix, we will need garlic powder, this is again a teaspoon, salt, a teaspoon, crushed up chili flakes, and then Italian seasoning. This is an Italian seasoning mix, so you could get this from any of your local stores like Walmart or any local stores that carry spice mixes. So we have ricotta cheese. This is whole milk ricotta cheese. Spinach. I got baby spinach right here. We will need that. We will need some canola oil. We will need some mozzarella cheese. And then along with lasagna, I'm going to be making my famous garlic bread. And for the garlic bread, we will need an Italian loaf or bread. You could either use an Italian loaf if you have it available nearby. If not, any rolls will do. That's the great part of this. So if you have even a hamburger bun or even a slice of bread, you could try this recipe and it'll just come out just as good. Butter. This is everything. Butter. Butter or margarine, either works, but I have margarine today. I don't have butter, but this is where the flavor holds. Garlic powder, and again, Italian seasoning. So these are all the things we will need today for our delicious lasagna dinner. So let's go ahead and get started with our recipe. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with our lasagna sheets first. This one is an oven ready one, but I still like boiling my pasta. It's just the way I was raised to do so. So I have a large pot of water boiling right now, and it's to a full boil. First things first, I am going to add a nice heaping handful of salt. Well, maybe a pinch, not a handful. Alright, so nice salty seawater initially. And we're going to add our sheets to it. And we're going to add close to around 9 to 10 sheets. So let's go ahead and layer these. Remember one thing, do not just plop them all in. It's always best to crisscross so that they do not stick together. That was something my grandma told me. And this will take close to, I'm going to say around 7 minutes to boil. We want it parboil or al dente. Al dente means it should have a slight bite, should not be fully 100% cooked, become gooey or too flippy or floppy. So we want a little sturdy. So we have that going right now. Oh, let me add one more. I did 9. Best to have 10. And then while we have this boiling for 7 minutes, I'm going to start off with my meat sauce. So I am going to first start chopping the onions. And we just want a medium chop. We don't want it too big or too small. All right, and we are going to be using the entire onion. Best way is to cut it in half. Then chop at least 3 to 4 segments. And then chop it up this way, across ways. So you have a nice chop. Didn't take long. So this is the size that you'll have approximately. It gives you a nice bite. So let's go ahead and navigate to our pot. And we're going to add at least 4 to 5 tablespoons of oil. And with that, we're going to just throw in our onions. I have my pot currently on medium heat. We're going to turn it up a little bit, and we're not going to bring it to a brown color. We're going to sweat it out a little bit. So let's just get that going. While we get this all sweating, our next step is going to be to add the ground beef, and I'll just show you where I'm looking for. I love this sound. The sound of sizzling onions. Anything sizzling is always amazing. Kind of relaxing. Alright. And then for these little chunks, try to see if you can break them up as well. Alright. There you go. This is what I'm looking for. Don't need to sweat it out all the way through. Just get the slight sizzle in there. And add your ground beef in the oil as well. Alright. While we're cooking the ground beef, we're going to take our garlic powder and our chili flakes. We're not adding any salt right now. Salt is always added to taste. Reason being is we're going to just add the entire pasta sauce in there, and this contains enough salt as it is. So whenever you put in your pasta, everything together, if you feel that the seasoning's a little less, feel free to add more seasoning. Sometimes we like a little extra garlic that day, or the salt, if your mom accidentally got you the low salt version, the low sodium version of the pasta sauce. Add salt to it. Add, if you want to zhuzh it up a little bit more, add more chili flakes or sriracha sauce to it. And so we're getting a beautiful brown color. I just turn it up to a complete high. Alright, be sure to break up these chunks into mini chunks. We don't want to have big, large chunks. And for those of you that don't really care for ground beef, you could always do lamb. Sausage works just as well. I'm not a sausage person. I enjoy ground beef. So, or if you want a low-fat, lean version, do ground chicken or ground turkey. Works just as well. And you can see that the onion is becoming translucent. The beef has started to turn brown. And the goal right now is to kind of turn everything, the entire ground beef, brown. So just remove any pink spots. Looks beautiful, huh? And give it another minute or two. So this entire process, as you can see, took no more than maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, I don't see many pink spots. Now, Actually, we'll just cook it 1 minute more. We're almost there. Let this beautifully bubble in the... We'll go ahead and start opening up the can of tomato sauce or pasta sauce. Whatever you have available on hand. No ketchup, please. And we'll go ahead and drizzle this in. All right. Start mixing our sauce. So we have our beautiful meat sauce. All right. I am going to give it a taste and see if we need to add anything. And I think so far so good. We don't need to add anything. This has enough salt, enough garlic, enough Italian seasoning. So let's let this boil for another minute or two, and after that you could turn off the stove, and then your meat sauce is basically done. So let's just stay here for a minute, and you'll see the sides are starting to bubble. All right. We don't want to dry out the sauce completely. If you feel that your sauce is a little too dry, take this can of pasta sauce, add water to it, and put it back in, like into the pot, so that you have a thinner sauce. You don't want your sauce to be too thick or too thin. A thin, runny sauce doesn't taste good in a lasagna. It becomes watery. Your plate has watery tomato soup everywhere. It doesn't taste that great. This is the perfect consistency. All right. Perfect. All right. So our next step is now going to be the ricotta cheese mix. So we'll go ahead and get that started next. So for the ricotta cheese mix, we're going to use ricotta cheese, the entire 15-ounce tub, and just scoop it all out. This is absolutely beautiful, creamy, light cheese. All right. A lot of people do use Philadelphia cheese or cream cheese. I don't like it with cream cheese. I think this gives you the best flavor. Or another alternative is mascarpone cheese, but this is the best. So we have this all emptied out. We're going to now add our garlic powder, Italian seasoning, crushed chili powder, and salt. All right, and just dump it all in there. And remember, I used a half a teaspoon to almost a full teaspoon of each. This is all according to your taste. If you want to eliminate the chili powder, you can do so, but I would not recommend you eliminating the Italian seasoning as well as the garlic powder and salt, because ricotta by nature does not have a salty tendency like other cheese do. Now we're going to, since we have that nicely incorporated, we're going to take some mozzarella cheese, and I'm just going to go for a handful. All right, I don't like to measure this out, just a good handful, and mix this in. All right. The great thing about grandmothers and most people that are of the previous generation, they barely measured stuff out. It was all eyeballing and just dumping whatever in and making it work. Whatever they had on hand for the day. Now we're going to we're going to chop up spinach. I have some baby spinach that has been already pre-washed. And for this, I am going to use a good bunch. So as you could see, let me move this behind a little bit. I'm going to just use a half a bag as I had previously mentioned, but yeah, that's close to a half a bag. So we're gonna put this away and just gather it together and do a rough chop. We're not looking for a chiffonade or a fine chop. We're looking for a rough chop. If you have frozen spinach, even better. That also works. If you don't like the taste of raw spinach, just throw it in, saute it with some olive oil, and you could add it to your ricotta cheese mix. But I just love the taste of regular raw spinach because of its earthiness and the minerals that you could taste out of it. All right. And make sure to try to see if you could chop up the stems a little bit finer. It becomes a little tough at times. So as you can see, just a very fine chop, and I didn't use any fancy knives, just your basic small knife was needed. And then I'm going to take this bunch and I'm going to dump it into the ricotta cheese. Oh, I saw another one, so let me just break that up. All right, just dumping it all in there. And let me just move this chopping board away. Now that we have that, go ahead and fold the ricotta cheese. All right. It might take a little arm work, but we do want it as a thick paste. I do not want a thin paste. But if your cheese is a little more stubborn, feel free to add an egg. I don't care to add one, but eggs, it just adds more stability to your mix once it bakes. But I think this in itself seems a little more stable. It's thick, it's hearty, it's beautiful. Okay, so we have this all done, and this looks perfection. And again, taste. Be sure to taste everything to ensure that you're not over salting or under salting, because you're going to have the pasta sauce with the ground beef. You're going to have this. We don't want to over season or under season for that fact. Okay, so we have the ricotta cheese mix all completed. I also wanted to show you that we had drained our pasta sheet because it had been 7 minutes, and this is how it looks like. It's a little flimsy, but not too flimsy. As you can see, it has been cooked through properly. It has a bite, and if you break through, you could see that it has a light ripple in the middle. So you can see it's al dente. It's perfect. Okay, so just drain it all and leave it in a colander so that all of the pasta water drains out. And then we will work on our next step of assembling the pasta. We have all 3 components have been completed. Now we'll just put everything together and throw it in the oven and make some magic. All right, guys, now we're going to assemble our lasagna. So first off, I picked an oven-friendly glass dish to assemble my lasagna in. You could either use an aluminum foil tray, or just if you're going to keep it at home, this glass dish works best. So our very first thing is make sure we have a clean plate, and we're going to add our pasta sauce and ground beef mixture that we had made earlier on. So we're going to take a nice heaping spoonful and just put it on the bottom of the dish and spread it out. We don't want like all of the sauce. We could reserve half of the sauce. I'm going to add a little bit more. All right. Make sure to cover up all the blank spots. All right. And of course, you will have some sauceless, meatless areas. That's fine. It's just to create a little bed for our lasagna rolls. All right. So, as I told you, my grandma was slightly untraditional. So, we're not going to be making the traditional layered lasagna because once we would cut it out, it would become a little mess. You have sheets missing here, sheets missing there. She liked it all individual pieces. So, we're going to make little roll-ups. So, now I'm going to go to my board over here. Okay, and we took our lasagna sheets, and note that these are a little dried up. So I made sure that I left the colander to drain out my pasta water completely. I want it a little dry so that my ricotta cheese mixture is able to stick. And if you are in a little bit of a rush and you still see a little water, just dab it with a paper towel. So I just took a table, like a little more than a tablespoon, a nice heapful, and I am pressing it down onto the lasagna sheet. All right, and so I'm gonna add a little bit more. And you could add as much as you want or as little as you want. It's purely up to you. I like it. So this is basically close to a tablespoon and a half, oh, maybe 2 tablespoons, let's be honest here. So make sure for the entire sheet that you have covered every single inch of it. Then you're going to take this edge, on any edge, you could work any side, and just roll it up. And please do not roll it up tight, keep it a little loose. And as you can see, I'm just doing it with a very light hand. And you see your lasagna roll over here. And then we're going to bring it to our bed of pasta sauce. So let's go ahead and start assembling the rest of these. Pretty simple concept. All right. And this is the beauty of it, that if you run out of ricotta cheese, you have extra pasta, put it to the side, use it for tomorrow, whatever. If you have additional meat sauce left over, but the lasagna is all done, just take whatever pasta is left over and throw in some additional cheese, and you have a little pasta meat dish, almost like a goulash. It's absolutely delicious. The possibilities with this is quite endless. I have seen some people, not my grandma, add artichokes to this, olives, jalapenos, which was very interesting. All right, see, this is beautiful looking. All right. And let's see here. Some people have even added the meat into the ricotta cheese. I would not prefer that, but that's your preference. So let's see. And keep on spreading however much you can. See, this hides all the imperfections as well. That's the one thing I love about this. Say you're missing a little bit of ricotta cheese over here. Doesn't matter, no one's looking at it. You're rolling it up, and voila, any open edges, no one sees it. So, let's keep on assembling. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of this recipe. If we should add anything new to it. I would be interested in reading what your opinion is. Some people like to add a lot more spices, make it more Indianized by adding cumin seeds and coriander. So I had an auntie back home. She would make the spiciest lasagna, and she would add cubes of cream cheese in there as well. They would turn out delicious. So I have 4 over here in one area. All right. So now you see that the siding of this has been ripped off while cooking. No problem. This is why I like this. It gets hidden. All right. All right. Adding it there. Few more to go. And once this has been complete, we will then top it off with our leftover meat sauce. Yeah. All right. Almost there. So it looks like this dish only fits, it seems like it's going to fit 8, so that's actually good. We will have some leftovers. And you could go ahead and store the the ricotta cheese if you have any left over for the next day. It can last up to, I would say, don't go exceeding maybe 3 to 4 days. Try to use it up within 3 to 4 days, so a week max. And this lasagna you could freeze, so you could assemble this and freeze it for later use, like for a date or a family night or a picnic. And yeah, it's easily freezable. Once you're ready to use it, just be sure to thaw your lasagna for at least an hour or 2, and then bake it in the oven for at least 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And if you don't have an oven, you could put your dish in the microwave and just heat it up incrementally. So we could show you that next time. So as you could, and then add the cheese on top and then throw it back in the microwave oven, and then you have a completed lasagna without the hassle of even going through an oven. So that's an option, but we're going to be using an oven for this dish particularly. So as you can see, there are 8 that have been created, assembled for you guys right here. Now I'm going to take the rest of my pasta sauce and layer it on. Okay. So just, if you like it extra meaty, just add the entire sauce, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. All right. Looks absolutely amazing. Okay, now our next step is going to be taking the mozzarella cheese and just spreading it on top. You could take as however much you want. Some people don't like too much cheese, so you could do a light drizzle as such. Or if you're like me, you add a lot more. I'm not going to use the entire bag. However, I do use a heavy hand when it comes to cheese. I like to cover any imperfections with cheese and sauce. So basically, mistakes are allowed on this. And our very, very last step, now this is completely optional. I love this. I love the extra crunch that this gives. But if you don't have it, you do not need to use it. I'm going to use breadcrumbs. These are panko Japanese breadcrumbs. If you have regular breadcrumbs, Italian breadcrumbs, anything, go ahead and add it. This brings a beautiful crunch factor. Add a little bit more. All right. Now we're going to take our dish into the oven. I have the oven preheating at 350 degrees. We're going to put it in the oven for at least 20 minutes. So let me go ahead and get back to you with my garlic bread, and we'll start on that, and we'll let this keep on cooking. We'll be right back. Alright guys, so I have arranged my items to make our garlic bread, our final addition to our lasagna. And for the garlic bread, just a reminder, we will need our Italian loaf, garlic granules, Italian seasoning, and a load of butter. Alright, so let's make this very easy. I'm going to just take the butter and all my seasoning, and you could add as little or as much as you want. That's your preference. If you want to add a little chili flakes to this, you could do that, but we're going to keep it very simple because we've added a lot of flavor to the lasagna. So we're just going to dump it all into the butter. The great thing about this butter is that you could save this if you have extra left over and use it for your morning toast to spread over. This is your fancy schmancy butter that you use or purchase outside in stores. You know, it's just adding whatever flavoring you want to butter and roll it up if you want in a nice log. That's up to you. So, flavored butter. We're just mixing this all together. We're mixing it well so that each little garlic granule gets dissolved almost. Alright. Okay, this looks perfect. So it's nice, spreadable. And if you're using butter, be sure to thaw your butter, leave it outside for at least an hour so it's spreadable. Yeah, otherwise it becomes very difficult to mix hard butter with your flavoring profile. Alright, make sure you get all the sides. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to move to our loaf. This is an Italian loaf, and this has not been cut, so you could do it multiple ways. If you want, you could cut it in slices and cover each slice with butter, or if you want to do it family style, just cut it lengthwise, which is what I'm trying to do here. Have a good bread knife. All right. Open it up. Okay, looks beautiful. And take your garlic butter and spread it. And don't be stingy with the garlic butter. Really lay it on. If you have to remake the garlic butter and you're all out, it's just 3 ingredients. Alright, this looks absolutely beautiful. Alright. So our lasagna, it has been 10 minutes since we have put it in the oven. Try to put this in the oven at the last 5-minute mark so that you have nice warm garlic bread, nice and toasty, and a fully cooked lasagna. So now we're going to take this, let's spread it. Alright. If it gets into a hole, dig it out and spread it. Don't be afraid to use your fingers if need be. The edge of the bread. Yep. Let's get every little bitten piece out of here. Scoop it all out. All this deliciousness can't go to waste. Now the next option I'm going to tell you is purely optional. If you'd like, you could put it on one loaf and not the other. And this is on your preference of cheese. If you like cheese, take some mozzarella leftover and add it on one side, or both sides if you want. The cheesier the better, right? So my husband and I really like cheesy, while my in-laws do not. So I'm going to leave one side, one option without cheese, the other with a light drizzle of cheese. And let's just throw this in the oven, same at 350 degrees, just for 5 minutes until it's toasty. Just keep an eye out, because sometimes ovens could be a little hotter or on the lower side. It's, you know, it's your oven preference, but just keep an eye out. What we're looking for is melted butter and just toastiness. So if the bottom should make a noise, a crusty noise. All right, so I'll be right back. I'm going to throw this into the oven and I will show you what the final product looks like. So guys, this is our final product. This is my dinner. So this is our individual lasagna roll. Looks beautiful, huh? Nice and saucy on the sides, nice and crispy on the top. We have our 2 garlic breads, the one with cheese and without cheese, and I just added salad just for vegetables. I hope you enjoy this lasagna recipe, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to comment down below and let me know what you thought about this recipe, and bon appetit, enjoy.